If you are a YouTuber, you want to be a YouTuber, you write articles, you write blogs, you write books, you create any kind of thing, and you're wondering about how in the world do I keep up this output? Where do ideas come from? I have writer's block, or how in the world do I plan out my content calendar? Anything like that, this video is for you. I am a professional, get paid for ideas kind of a person, and just this week I was talking with a couple people who are on my email list, and they were saying, I have no clue how in the world you send out an email every weekday and it's always something different, always something interesting. Where in the world do all these ideas come from? And I didn't really think about it because it's just how I've always done it. And then I put all my ideas and my system into a 6-step process. And if you saw my video from last week, and if you didn't, I'll link to it at the end of this video, I talked about the importance and value of having systems for you to accomplish your goals and how Obsidian is a great tool to make that happen. So this won't be Obsidian specific, and if you've got some other kind of program that you use, then this should be just fine for you as well. So this is kind of system agnostic insofar as it is its own system that will help you make use of the tools that you already have at your disposal. So with that being said, let's dive right into it. Hello and welcome. My name is Jonathan Pritchard from iCanReadMinds.com. And like I mentioned, I get paid for ideas. I write a lot. I write performances and whole theater shows and branding and marketing stuff and articles and emails. And I'm just writing books and all sorts of stuff. And like I said, people wonder, how in the world do you put out so much stuff? And I couldn't do it if I didn't have this system. And because I like alliteration, I'm calling it the 6C content system or the 6C system, whatever it's called. I don't know. What's more important is that it works. It helps you get stuff out the door. And here's how. The first C is consume. Just like you are watching this video, it is important to expose yourself to lots of material. You have to read a lot. You have to talk to cool, interesting people. You have to watch videos, listen to podcasts about what it is that you do. Now, my bet is that you already do this and you are really interested in your world, whether it is business or entrepreneurship or role-playing games or art, performance, whatever the thing is that you love more than anybody else on planet Earth. You eat, sleep, and breathe that. So you are already consuming lots of stuff. One thing that can hold you back that I've seen a lot from the art world, my degree is in studio art and painting portraits. So I'm an artist. I've been around artists my whole life. One big thing that I've seen is, well, I don't want to be accused of ripping somebody else off. So I'm purposefully not going to find out about what they're doing or look into what that guy is doing because I think we're kind of in the same space and I don't want to be seen as copying and pasting what it is that they are doing. And you don't have to worry about that. I mean, unless you're tracing what they're doing, still that's good practice. Just keep it to yourself, right? So I did that for a while with another performer and found out that he was really smart and he helped out my show a lot. So I realized that I was only holding myself back by not engaging with other people who are in the same world that I'm in. So if you are holding off from listening to that podcast or reading that blog because you don't want to be influenced and that kind of a thing, just let go of that and expand your horizons of who it is that you are paying attention to and listening to and engaging with. Just make sure that your aesthetic sensibilities stay high, your standards stay high, and try to engage with as many good ideas and different ideas as you possibly can. And then that leads us into the second step of this, which is to catalog everything. This is where most people are missing the mark, because you might be watching a lot of stuff, you might be listening to a lot of stuff, and then 2 weeks later it crosses your mind and you go, "Oh, what was that thing? It was really cool, and oh, I wish I could find that again." And then you have to spend a lot of time looking for that thing that you were wanting to talk about or write about, or whatever it is that you wanted to do with it. You can't do it because you can't find what it is. And that's why I use Obsidian to catalog everything. If I'm watching a video that's on a topic that I love, I like to take active notes as I'm listening to it or watching it, engaging with it, consuming it, whatever you want to call it. But I like to take active notes while I'm doing that, and use tags and link to other notes and articles that I've written so that I can see how it fits with other things. So without being able to catalog all these ideas, when it comes time to make use of them, you won't have them. So that's why you have to get really good and disciplined about keeping track of what it is that you've engaged with, where you're keeping it, so that you can find it later. And then that brings us to the third step of the system, and that is to connect all those ideas that you have cataloged. And again, Obsidian makes this so easy because you can link between notes, and you can use tags so that you could say, "Oh, I'm writing an article about parlor room tricks. I'm writing about close-up mind reading demonstrations," whatever it is. And then you could have a tag that says close-up or parlor or stage or television, whatever it is. And then every note that fits that category or tag, you see it all right here. So then once you have that all at your disposal, you can start to connect different ideas, and then you go, "I wonder, how could I marry the concepts that are in role-playing games with mentalism and performing and in business negotiation?" And weirdly enough, that's what's rolling around in my head right now. And it's fascinating to me. Nobody else on planet Earth is thinking about this kind of stuff. Nobody else is connecting these kinds of ideas. And that's why me following these threads of different areas of interest, now that I have them all in one place, I can start pulling them together in a unique way that nobody else can. And by adding my perspective to it, then that makes it unique, even if other people were using those three areas of interest and that Venn diagram overlap is where they're hanging out. That's cool. There's enough room for me there too. So that's why it's important to have broad ranging interests, and you catalog them, and then your brain will just start mushing them together, and you'll start confusing this thing for that thing, and then before you know it, you just came up with something interesting. So that is the consume, catalog, connect. Then once you have your head around all of that and you start coming up with different ideas, you start to take notes about these new interesting ideas that you're having. And that is the fourth step, which is creation. You start to make something from it. Maybe it starts as bullet points. Maybe it starts as a mind map where you take all the notes that you've got, and using Obsidian again, you can put them all into an infinite canvas and push them around like they were on your dinner table, and then start putting them together, and then that's how you make your outline. I have to do a mind map for any kind of longer piece that I'm making, whether it's a book or an article or something. I've got to do a mind map and then see how it all connects and then go, well, this comes first and then that comes second and that comes third. And I even did that with this video. I was like, all right, I know you got to connect ideas and then you got to use those to create stuff, but also got a catalog. So does that come after? Or like, no, that has to come before. So I've used the system that I'm telling you about to make this video of me telling you about the system. So it's super meta and fractal, but hey, that's super cool too. So when it comes time to create, you're not spending any time finding stuff or looking for the tools that you need. It's all right there. And you've already started connecting things, and now you just extrapolate it. And that is when you start writing your articles, start writing your book, your scripts for this. And when you do this a lot, you'll just start creating more and more stuff, and you won't have any end to it. In fact, you'll have too much stuff to create. In fact, right now, I'm writing the first of a 3-book series about mind reading principles that I use on stage and how they apply to the sales process. So the first whole book is about the first phone call that you have in a very complicated sales process. Then the second book will be about pitching and presenting your ideas about here's what you should do and why. Then the third whole book will be about negotiation and getting people on board. And in order to write that, I have to back up and write the book about the 7-step persuasion formula that guides all my presentations and the whole sales process that I architected with a client of mine that's a digital marketing agency. So I have to write all of that because that formula informs the whole sales process. So I want to write that book about persuasion and anti-manipulation, protecting yourself from people who are trying to use weapons-grade persuasion to get what they want from you at your expense. So I've got to write that whole book. And in addition to all that, I want to write a book about how to do a better trade show where I'm taking all my performing experience and then putting it in the booth to help companies get 2-5 times as much work from a single trade show. So that is a phenomenal system. So that's what I'm saying. When you start connecting ideas and integrating them from different worlds, you can't run out of stuff to create. This is how you solve your writer's block. And you've got infinite source of ideas and interesting things to talk about, to write about. And suddenly you've got the complete opposite problem. I don't have enough hours in the day to create as much as is on my plate. And now you start to pick and choose the best of the best. And that is a much better situation to be in than the what do I write about problem. And now we come to the 5th step of the process, which is to convey. You have to communicate what it is that you've created. Creating it at home in a vacuum where only you see it is a good start, but the best way to get better is to share your ideas with the world. And this could be a whole series in and of itself. If you are worried about people stealing your ideas, who cares? You already had it. You make space for something else to write about. If you are worried about somebody stealing your idea and then running with it, you don't have to. You will see that will never happen because a really good idea requires you to continually shove it out into the world, and it won't look like a good idea to other people, and they won't do anything with it. And even if they did do something with it, they couldn't implement in the same way as you could. So that's really what differentiates it, is not only having the idea or writing about it, but putting it out there and doing something with it and leveraging it for future projects and more interesting stuff. If you are worried about what people will say about it, don't worry. Nobody will say anything. And that is a really rough lesson, which is at first, it'll be dead silent. Nobody will watch it. Nobody will read it. Your mom might read it. And even then, they'll be like, well, that was interesting, but I don't get it. And you'll wonder why you waited so long because you'll see how tough it is to get people to watch anything that you make. So the longer you hold off sharing it with the world and communicating your vision with the world, the less time you have for it to pay off in a positive way, because that's the other side of that coin. If you were worried about the bad stuff that's going to happen, you should be more concerned about all the good stuff that can't happen as a result of your ideas that you didn't share with the world because you were worried about the bad stuff. So by virtue of making decisions to protect yourself against the bad, you're guaranteeing that the good can't happen. And that way you're avoiding both and you stay stuck where it is that you are. So that's why the fifth C is convey it into the world, communicate it, put it on a platform, share it, push it, promote it, talk about it with everybody that you meet, and put your ideas out there for the world to engage with. The last step of the process, and this is super important, please do not ignore this step, is congratulations. Congratulate yourself. Celebrate that you've put something out into the world that would have never existed if you didn't take the time to make it real. Even if you're the only person that had the idea, it still isn't real until you make it real. So every single thing that you make is completely unique, and you've made the universe a different place by the time and effort you've put into making something that nobody else in the world, in the history of the universe, would have ever made if it wasn't for you. So in a very real sense, every single thing that you create and share and communicate and convey to the world makes the world a better, different place. So that is a really cool thing, and it's something that's easy to lose sight of when you start getting pulled into the metrics and, oh, I gotta grow this thing, I gotta get more visitors, I gotta get more subscribers, and whatever that trap of more is, it can distract you from appreciating the fact that the act of creation in and of itself is an incredible demonstration of magic and the power of transformation, which in my book is alchemy. So become a creator, become a content creator, become a writer, become a video maker, become a YouTuber, whatever it is that you want. Become a creator, become an alchemist that is transforming the universe into your imagination. And to me, that is the coolest job that you could possibly ever have. And through the history of humanity, there have been vanishingly small numbers of people who have been able to spend their life doing that. And now it's the best time for the most people to make that happen, because we all have production studios in our pockets, and it is easier than ever to create more amazing things than just 2 or 3 generations ago could have ever possibly dreamt of. And even me, I was born before the internet was a big thing, and it came around when I was in junior high, and I remember a world without the internet and powerful computers and digital cameras that record in 4K. It was really hard to do anything. So make the most out of the tools that you've got. The thing that you're watching this on right now probably has a camera on it, and you could get started right now. So that's it in a nutshell. The 3 C's: consume, catalog, connect, create, convey, celebrate, congratulate yourself, and look at that. You are a content creator. Thank you so much for sticking with me. If you have any questions, and there are a lot of questions surrounding how all this content creator thing works in the world and how to make money on it and how to get clients and all that kind of stuff, whatever it is that you're interested in, please put it in the comments below the hoop-de-doop. I want to know what it is that you'd like to know, so that if I know it, I can share it and help you create your vision for change. In the meantime, if you'd like more ideas and stuff like this, I strongly suggest that you subscribe to the channel. This is the kind of thing I like thinking about, is how do I take what's in my head and make a living with it and share it with the world? And once you've done that, given it a like, I would strongly suggest that you watch the video that I made before this one, and I will make sure to put that on the screen if I haven't already. And as I always like to say, remember, if you can change your mind, you can change your life.